member for our coffee club.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Shabil.
Salam. I'm Emil. It's nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you too.
Okay, I'm Shabil. Just for you guys to know, I'm the president of this club. My name is Ahmadari. You can call me Joe.
Alright.
Okay, so
Thank you.
okay, let's have a seat. Alright, how are you guys?
Yeah, I'm good.
Alhamdulillah, I'm quite fine.
You guys doing great. That goes the same for me. Of course, you know what kind of topic that we're going to talk about today.
No.
Okay, let me give you a brief about it. So we're going to talk about environmental issues in Malaysia. Oh, wait. Let me give you guys this first.
This is brochure.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
It's for our discussion that we're going to do. Of course, like I said, environmental issues in Malaysia. We're going to talk about the example for the environmental issues in Malaysia, and then we're going to talk about the bad impacts. And last but not least, we're also going to talk about the preventions, which is ways how to deal with environmental issues. And then I guess we're going to like make a quick and good discussion about it. Okay. All right. So how about you guys let me start first? Is it okay?
Alright, go on.
Okay. I see. Let's start with the first phase, which is the environment, the example for the environmental issues in Malaysia. Alright, let me go first. I'll go for the answers, which is actually the climate change. You guys know about the climate change?
Yes, I have heard about it a lot.
How about you, Shadia?
Yes, I really know about it. I think there are some reasons about the climate change happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, of course, the excessive production of the greenhouse gases, and of course, like carbon dioxide and methane, mostly are from this burning of fossil fuels and deforestation, industrial process, and also that can cause these climate changes. I mean, like literally, if we're using our cars and motorcycle and stuff, it actually produces carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide, which can lead to the greenhouse gases effects, right? All right. So this is one of the reasons why this climate change happens. And when it happens, when the climate change happens, there are a lot of things that will be going on around our Earth. One of the main is the global temperature. The global temperature will rise. I mean, like it will getting hot and hotter these days, right? Goes the same for any other countries, not just Malaysia. And then the melting glaciers. I mean, like it kind of relatable if you ask me. When the global temperature rise, then it will get hot and hotter, right? And then the glacier at the Antarctica will also start to melt, which can also causes the sea level rises. And of course, when the sea level rises, it's also one of the effects of this climate change. And then there is also the severe weather, like the storms and droughts. This is one of the example for the climate change. And when we're talking about it, we can also see the effects of, the risk between it affect us, human, and actually it's not just us, it's also affect the ecosystem, and of course the biodiversity, the plants, the animals. We are all at risk of these changes, and that goes the same for any other areas too, right? The land and stuff. Imagine the droughts. When it happens, it actually affect just the plants, and also it will affect the food chains, and which actually affect us, the human. So you can see the reason why all of this happens, it was all because of the humanity itself. We didn't actually learn. We didn't even think about ways to save. We just used these resources from Earth. Nothing. We just use it, and the Earth didn't even get any good impacts or anything. It just keeps on getting used by us, and it will lead to, yeah, one of the worst thing is the climate change, which is why I think it's important for human to actually learn about these environmental issues, these issues that we're talking about. We really need to let everyone learn and know about it so that they can find ways to actually help to reduce these environmental issues. I wouldn't say that these environmental issues will totally be gone, but the least that we can do is try to lessen the use of it, right? I mean, of course, we can do, rather than using the non-renewable energy, we can start to switch to renewable energy like the solar. You guys heard about the solar system,
Yes.
the sun, right? I mean, we can use the energy from there and then change it to a new renewable energy, and it will help a lot to restore the nature. And of course, we should also advance the sustainable practice so that everyone can apply this technique. And sooner or later, we can actually help Earth by helping the environmental to helping the environment to
Get better.
yes, to get better, to heal. That, I guess that's all for the climate change. I mean, anyone want to start with other?
Yes, that's a very good point from you, Arman, because you see that climate change nowadays used to affect most of the living things on Earth, like. So for next point, I'm going to talk about deforestation, which is the other environmental issue, right?
Yes.
So do you agree that deforestation is also one of the environmental issues?
Yeah, yes.
So I'm going to explain about it. And so yeah, so you can hear about it. So
Alright.
deforestation is a large scale of cutting down of trees, and usually the land for farming, building, and any other activity for humans benefits. So it is also the extensive of removal of the forest, and for logging, urbanization, and agriculture is known as deforestation. So basically, deforestation is cutting down trees for human activities and their own benefits. Yeah, this can affect the animals and ecosystem habitats, and remove their home. And most plant and animal species, they are depends on forest life. So therefore, their limitation also affects biodiversity, and additionally it affects with the storage of carbon dioxide too. So when the human activity like this deforestation, when they cut down most of the trees, the oxygen, which you know that most of the trees provide oxygen, right?
Yes.
So when they cut down most of the trees, the oxygen will be less and less, and it will become more unhealthy for humans. And yes, that is one of the effects for the deforestation without the annoying. Yes.
I mean, I really agree with your point there. When we're talking about the illegal logging and stuff, I mean, of course, we know that trees, they produce carbon dioxide, right?
Yeah.
And of course, when people cut down trees, they do illegal logging and stuff.
Yeah.
It will be result on the reduce the carbon dioxide. I wouldn't say it's not no, it's not like that. I mean, like literally when the tree, it it doesn't produce carbon dioxide. It absorbs, right? It absorbs the carbon dioxide and then it produces the oxygen. But when the trees got cut down and stuff, the one thing that surely will happen is the rise of the carbon dioxide gas, which also we can kind of relate it to the greenhouse gas effect,
Yes.
right? And then, of course, when there are no more carbon dioxide, when there are no more trees, then there are no more carbon dioxide to get absorbed, means there are no more oxygen to be produced, right?
Yes.
This is actually a really bad phenomenon. When it happens, this will actually lead to the greenhouse effect that can also lead to the climate change. We can see the sequence. We can see that there are a lot of things that can relate to the one main point, which is actually the environmental issue itself. Not just talking about humans, the animals are also affected on this. They kind of lost home too, right? I mean, you can continue.
Yes, I very agree with Arman just now because as you can see that Arman just doing a good elaboration towards my point, and yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Arman. And because deforestation is also it's a big issue because forests play a vital role for keeping our planet healthy, right?
Yes.
And thus they absorb carbon dioxide and produce and provide oxygen, as I just said, and it supports wildlife and living things, right? So when they cut down most of the trees, it will become bad effect to the living things, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And not only that, to add on more about your point, actually, the tree is, other than absorbing the oxygen and other than absorbing the carbon dioxide and produce the oxygen, the tree could also be beneficial for absorbing the water to be to be
low quality.
the tree could be also absorbing the water to prevent from become the natural disaster. For example, like the flood. As we can see, the root from the tree, they actually working to be absorbing the water that is maybe higher, that could make the that could lead to flood, landslide, yes. So if there is no trees and maybe the people cut down all of the trees, how can the water could be absorbed and it could be lead to worse natural disaster.
I agree with you. I mean, literally, not just the tree. I mean, like we can see that the tree also produce food, right, for the animal. But if there is no more tree, which is there is no more food, then there is no more food for the animals. Then the animal will sooner or later die because of the lack of food and stuff, which also could affect us. It really literally disrupt the food chain, right?
Yeah, so when the animals don't get food, we also don't get the sources of foods of animals. Right?
Animals and plants.
Yes. So I think that's all for my point. And do you have any other environmental issue?
Well,
Share with us?
let's move on to another issue that is a bit serious about plastic pollution.
It's a bit serious. Which is serious?
Not a bit, it's kind of serious.
Okay.
So before I start, I do agree with your statement just now about the deforestation. It's kind of concerning us how the people cut down the tree nowadays is so extreme. Alright, so for plastic pollution, how can the plastic pollution happen? So the first thing is, it is happens when the people use it and throw it in the wrong way, which ruins ecosystem and land in water. So for nowadays, we could see that whenever we go to a store, in a restaurant, we could see that they have been used the plastic bag so much, and it is actually could be affecting our nature and our environment. Because the first one is, as we all know, plastic bag is actually a non-biodegradable, and it takes a lot of years to be, what we call it, to be degrade. And when it is taking a lot of time to be degrade, this could lead to plastic. The plastic could be pollution everywhere, maybe in the sea or even in the land.
I mean, like, when we're talking about this, I have this one friend of mine, his name is Farlan. He's actually a real lifesaver for turtles. He lives at Terengganu. He's a good friend. He once said to me that he met this one turtle that actually are a bit hurt. See, the reason why this turtle is actually hurt is the fact that it hits the plastic, which the causes of this is from us human. And then he helped the turtle, and then they do some the surgery to actually help the turtle, and then it finally saved. He's a good friend. I would say that you guys should learn more about him. I really try to invite him soon in our discussion, right? He's good buddy. I wouldn't forget him. He's very interested in nature. He's real and he's hard to actually track the sea from us actually. He had this kind of way that I hope that everyone can try to follow his lead, try to be like him. A real lifesaver.
Yeah, but I would love to be that guy.
Yeah.
It's talking about turtles, and yeah, nowadays people often use the usage of plastics often affects the turtles, right?
Yeah.
So can you continue with your wishes?
Alright, so based on the story, we could see that how dangerous a plastic could be in our life and even for the animals' life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about animals, let's move on how the plastic could be harming our life. So whenever we talk about plastic, we must be wondering how come a plastic themselves could be ruining or maybe harming our life, right? So it's not the plastic themselves that are harming our life, but it is about the microplastic that we are talking about. So do you guys know about microplastic?
No.
Alright, so the microplastic is actually this. Oh, do you know about it?
No.
No, you don't know about it, then let me say it.
Okay.
Alright. Okay, so microplastic is a small pieces that came from a plastic. So what can these small pieces do to our life? So for example, let's say a person throw a plastic into the sea, and the sea is actually our water that we are consuming every day. And if the plastic they are thrown from the sea, in a long time, they will be turning into a small pieces of plastic. Even though it is small pieces, but it still can be affecting our life. So let's say, if we are drinking a water that are coming from a lake or maybe from a sea, and the sea or the lake could be polluted by the plastic that have been thrown by people, and whenever we drink the water, the microplastic will be absorbing into our body, and in a long-term effect, it will be affecting our health.
Yeah.
Yes.
So microplastic that you said just now, it will turn into small pieces, right?
Alright.
So do we humans can see it with our eyes?
To be answering that question, we as a human we cannot see the microplastic by our own eyes, because the microplastic is really small pieces and it could only be seen maybe by the microscope or something like that. Alright, so there is a lot of ways to reducing the usage of plastic, and maybe we could talk about it in the next segment. How about it?
Yes, I agree with that.
Okay. I mean, like, what can we actually talk in this segment is we already discussed about each and every example for this environmental issues. You know, I keep on talking like environmental issues in Malaysia, but it's actually not just in Malaysia. It really affects the whole world, right? Alright. So let's move on to the next section, which actually the bad impacts of the environmental issues that we're going to talk about. So, are you guys ready? Ready? You guys show some real, okay? We've been talking about almost 20 minutes. We still have maybe around 35 more minutes, right? So let's just take it slow and keep on talking. Alright, next one is the bad impacts. I'm gonna go with the climate change first. Like I said at my first talk, we did talk about the climate change, and then we're talking about the rising temperature, global, or the increase of the global temperature and stuff. Of course, it gives a lot of huge effects, like I said, to the ecosystem by destroying the areas and cause a lot of species to go extinct. Let's say, I give you an example, the plants. Let's see that the plants can actually adapt in a very cold area. And then somehow, because of the climate change, the rising temperature and stuff, there's had been a drought at that land. It doesn't actually just affect the plants, it affects the whole place itself. You see, sometimes animals or maybe the land, they have their own ways to adapt to some places, but it took them quite some time to actually adapt to a new area or a new environment. See, when it's very hot for a very cold plant, the plant will it will be hard for them to bloom, or maybe they will end up dying, right, because of the rising temperature. And not just plant, like I said, of course, the soil, it might not be quite fertilized, since that the differences for its differences to actually adapt will be hard for it to keep on adapting through a new environment. Goes the same. I mean, like for the animals, like when they don't have when they don't have plants to eat, or maybe some food, it will actually disrupt the food chain. And yeah, when it happened, let's say there is no more plant. Plant is the primer species for this food chain. And when there is no more plants, which means the small animals like grasshopper, or maybe mouse and stuff, they don't have enough food. They end up dying. And then the second tier species like snakes and snakes like that. I mean, like they don't have, since there are no more plants, and when there are no more plants, means there are no more mice or grasshopper. They don't have food, and then it will also affect the snakes. And when the snakes die, the third rate species animals like hawk, the eagles, it will also be hard for them to actually find food. This is what I mean when we disrupt the food chain.
So basically, it will mess up the food chains.
No, the whole food chain itself will get messed up. And of course, there's also a loss of diversity, because I mean, they quite have a real hard time for these plants and animals to actually adapt to fast changes. And not just that, when we're talking about climate change, there are also the severe weather events like the hurricane, the floods, the drought, like you said about floods, and it keeps on happening more often, and it forces a lot of people to actually move, since that the floods and the droughts and stuff will actually damage the infrastructure. Give you an example, a real simple example is at Kelantan in we see it's already November and December, which means there are a lot of floods happening right now. And maybe some of them decided to actually move out from their house. You see, it will be hard for them since there is going to be floods, and it will affect their home. It will destroy a lot of their furniture and stuff. It will cost them a lot of money, right? And they might end up having to try to move to another place, leaving the old houses. Yeah, the the infrastructure itself are quite damaged from this kind of event. Actually, it's what happened. Wasn't just goes to say for these. Let's talk about the melting ice spread thing. I mean, like when the glacier, when the ice glacier and stuff at the Antarctica start to melt, it will rise the sea levels, and then of course it will quite attract to a seaside town. Again, I mean, like they will encounter a lot of threat, risk threat, like who knows, maybe there will be tsunami, and then there might be also flood. It will be happening since that the sea level is keep on rising when the ice melt. Yes.
I ever read one article that says that Malaysia and Indonesia in 2015 it will be drowned by the sea water because it is rising, keep rising and keep rising. It is
Yeah.
true.
I mean, like it might be happening if there are no more sense, the common sense between us. We didn't even try to actually say it. Then, yeah, it might be possible. I mean, like literally, there are a lot of tsunami cases too, right? So we just need to be aware so that we can actually try to. Yeah, we need. It's not that we need to adapt. We just need to try to solve these problems so that it won't be happening again. I guess. I mean, maybe that's all for my my session, my points. You can start if you want now.
So, from my point, which is deforestation, basically, the bad impacts of deforestation is kind of related to climate change with the bad effects.
Yeah.
And so, I'm going to explain now, and you can hear it and listen to me carefully.
I'm all ears.
Okay, so the bad effects of deforestation is that many species will lose their natural homes and also push close to extinction when the forests are cut down. So basically, these are called biodiversity loss. When, as I said before, and when the trees, most of the trees are cut down, the animals and
Did say that.
yeah, I did say that. So I'm going to explain that again. When most of the trees are cut down, the animals, habitats, and the flora and fauna will be affected and damaged, and also destroyed by this
Well, you see, the first sentence.
so this activity of humans also affected
The flora and
the
fauna.
living things and flora and fauna
Yeah.
because it gives back to them for their own benefits. That's
I mean, like humans and their greed. You see, I wouldn't say crime, but I see that they are greed and stuff. You see, they already cut a lot of trees, and I mean, have you ever known about the biggest and tallest tree in our world?
yeah.
Do you know where is it right now?
No, I don't know.
It's actually in Malaysia. What? If you want to know? Yeah, I mean, like, can you imagine? They said that if 100 person make a circle, the size of the tree, you see yeah, I mean like
It's called this.
huh? Yeah, I mean its size are almost the same with the of 100 adults making a circle.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you want to say that the tree is big as the hundreds of humans surround the trees?
Yeah, it literally around that time. And if I'm not wrong, it's almost around almost 10,000 years like that. It is very old, which means. But the good thing is, when I say Malaysia, I didn't actually specify where because they don't want any illegal loggers to actually try to cut it down. See, when the tree is very old, it has a lot of value. It's like an antique item. People try to take it by force and stuff, which is why we didn't even know where. And yeah, even though it costs a lot of money, it also costs a lot of unnecessary, a lot of bad things. Not just even if you get money, doesn't matter. In about 5 to 10 years old, yeah, the earth wouldn't even be as safe or as good as it was before, right?
Yes, I say that's a very good move from government to hide the location of the trees for avoiding the humans to take advantage of it. Yeah, they usually care for themselves. They can cut the tree and stuff like that for their own benefits.
Yeah.
Right? So I think and this is one of the bad impacts of the deforestation. So besides, also forests are very important because they produce and store carbon dioxide. So as I said before, forests actually produce oxygen, and when the humans do illegal stuff like deforestation, cut down most of the trees, it causes the rising heat of
Yeah, the rising temperature.
rising temperature of global warming.
Yeah,
And like I just said, related to Arman's just said before, and yeah, cutting them down increases greenhouse gas pollution, right?
Yeah.
And which makes climate change, like Arman said, becoming worse. And
Yes, it's really a biodiversity loss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and when the temperature rising and rising towards years and years, it will become
It will be a bad effect to
Our
the plants, to everything. I mean, like, you might know maybe 25 years later, if no one actually try to help, there might be no more plants for everyone. There might be no living things at all. Might be the end of it.
yeah, I think
But it's
also cutting down trees leads to heavy soil loss and problems with the water cycle, which lowers crop yields and causes water shortage.
yeah. I mean, like, literally when the plants they absorb the water, and then they will bring out the water back to the surface. You see, the water will soon be extracted by the heat of the sun. The heat of the sun will pull out the water that will absorb it in the tree,
Yes.
and then yeah, they will become the gases. See the water gases back to the atmosphere,
Yes.
and yeah, the water cycle will keep happening again. It will soon rain. When it rains, the tree absorbs it back, and then the heat from the sun will change it back to the gases, and then it will go back to rain again and again and again. The process is keep on being the same.
So does this mean the deforestation could lead to disruption of the water cycle?
Yeah, literally. It's one of the fact. Not just the water cycle, the food chain
The food
cycle,
chain, of course.
and of course the nitrogen cycle too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But
Yes.
that's stuff for another day.
Okay, so yes, deforestation also can threaten food security and affect millions of people's lives. And yeah, talking about food security, like I said before, the food chains, right? Deforestation also, when they cut down the trees, it will disrupt the food chains, right? And it will destroy the human food sources and animal food sources, which can affect humans and living things' lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's all for the bad impacts of deforestation. Can you elaborate?
Oh yeah, let's talk about the bad impacts on plastic pollution.
Yeah.
So for just now, I keep talking about the bad impacts on maybe our environment, our nature, like um, the the harm of the plastic to the sea marine's life, right? But now let's focus on our environmental. Okay, so as we know, the plastic themselves, they actually contains a lot of toxic chemical in it, right? So if a person maybe doing a opening fire and they burn the plastic will release a gas, a really bad gas. I'm not really sure what the gases is. Do you guys know what the gases is?
Is it the greenhouse gases pollution?
It's more than that actually. It's toxic
Yeah, I mean it's a toxic
gas, which could be polluting our air and maybe could impact our health also.
carbon gas like that, I cannot quite remember.
So these gases are really danger for our environment and
Yeah, I
maybe
agree.
health, right? So the next one is, if a person, let's say a person throw a plastic maybe away in a sewage, right? It could be not affecting much for our nature. But let's say, what if 100%, 1,000% throw a plastic in a sewage every day, let's say?
It will be
Yeah.
a real problem.
It could be lead to sewage blockage, right? Where, okay, let's take an example. For Arman said just now, in Kelantan and Terengganu,
Oh,
the flood, right? The flood, it happened because of maybe the climate change, right? The rainy season. But for the Kuala Lumpur, Selangor, we could see sometimes it could be natural disaster like flood, right? So this thing actually happened not because of the rainy season, but actually it's because of the plastic that have been thrown everywhere.
Oh yeah, it starts in sewage,
Yes.
and then when it's rain, the flood, it will become flood since there are
Yeah, that's right.
there are no room for the water to actually flow. Right? I've heard about it before.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, we could see how serious the plastic could lead us to, right? And maybe not even in the sea marine's life that could be affecting their health. Even in our land, for example, maybe in forest, right? Let's say the plastic has been thrown somewhere in the forest, and if the heat from the sunrise is too serious, and it could lead to forest burning, right? Yeah.
I agree.
I think we don't have much time left, so I'm going to end my session here. And let's move on to the prevention ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have maybe around 8 more minutes. So we're almost 48 minutes here. Alright, so next, I will just quick. I'll get it quickly this time. I mean, I'm sorry if I talk too much. But yeah, bad impacts. We already learned about the example and the bad impacts. Now we kind of need to know how to prevent, right? So let's say, first and all, if you want to stop the climate change, we need to do a breaking down of the greenhouse gas emissions, right? I mean, these carbon pollutions that can relate to this greenhouse gases effect, we can cut it a lot by switching it to the renewable energy stuff like solar and wind power. Like I told you, I mean, like rather than using basic fuel oil, diesel, motorcycle or maybe car, you can switch to. I've heard about it. Do you guys know about Tesla?
Oh, the car.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Yes.
it's used energy resources, right? Rather than using the
Petroleum.
using the petroleum, the non-renewable energy stuff, right? And of course, yeah, it's really an electric car would be a good idea. And of course, we can do when she said about deforestation, I also talk about reforestation, like we plant like tree and stuff to assist in trapping back the carbon dioxide, so that it will be much more less carbon dioxide at the atmosphere, right? I mean, I wouldn't say that it would be hard for us, just us, but yeah, I'm pretty sure the governments should take this advice to actually help by, they can actually create a group to help do the reforestation back, right? And of course, if we can't do that, the least that we can do is try to save energy, like stop using plastic and stuff. We should start on supporting this green project, right? It's literally necessary to put it in a policy, that this can will be a good idea to actually reduce the effects of climate change. That's all.
So, from what Amanda said before, just now, Amanda said that reforestation, right?
Yep.
So it is one of the ways to prevent deforestation. So besides that, stop deforestation, we as a humans, we need to handle land effectively and work to protect it. And government also should play vital roles to prevent this issue. So they can do
What was it that you said? Differences.
differences that government should make should provide a laws enforcement
Yeah.
to protect this environment and to avoid this deforestation of humans illegal doing.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So forest cutting is less required when eco-friendly farming methods like agroforestry and product cycle are supported. And so the decisions, for conclusion that decisions that people make, like buy items that are recognized as not cutting down the trees.
No, this is a serious matter. Is it already done? Oh,
Alright,
okay, sorry.
Okay, so now I will be talking how do we reduce plastic pollution in our life. Alright, so as you all know, plastic pollution it happens because there is a lot of person using it in one day, right? So to stop it, we need to stop single-use plastic. So how do we stop it? For example, whenever we go to a store, maybe a restaurant, we could use our own bag rather than buying a new bag plastic to put our things that we buy. And not only that, policies against plastic manufacture and support of substitutes like biodegradable materials may be enforced by the governments, right? So this could help people and maybe address them to be using their own waste other than using the plastic. And maybe increasing the recycling facilities could also assure that correct plastic waste disposal and reusing. For example, the government could be create maybe a manufacturer or maybe even industry that could turn the use that could turn the used plastic bag into a new one other than just throw it away and could lead to plastic pollution. And I think that's all for me.
So
there-
I think that governments also can make programs and campaign for the humans
Yeah.
increase
Oh,
their
right. I forgot that one.
increase their awareness towards the environmental issue. So I think that's all for me, I guess.
I guess thing that we can do actually is the fact that rather than just hoping for the governments to help, we can also be wary of ourselves. Okay, this thing wouldn't be done, but we also need to provide to everyone should do his best, the best that he can to actually try to save the nature, right? We need to save the nature, we need to save the environment so that our earth could live maybe a bit longer, or let's say 50 years, maybe another 100 to 100, maybe more. The future generations could live in a world where they could actually live in peace, right? For everyone. I guess that's all for now. You guys have anything to say?
I have nothing more to say, but what I want to say is that I am very hungry.
No, wait. I have a conclusion, so I do agree with him. And as for our nature, we wait. Let me
Okay,
end this first. So the nature that we live in, we enjoy it together, we live it together, and it is our responsible together to
Yep.
take action to save our nature. So
yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
What? Wait. Okay.
Yes, let me say it first.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I do agree with Ines because we as a human ourselves, we have to have some self-awareness to the environmental issue, and we have to try to prevent that for the benefits of us all. So I think it's all.
Well, you are hungry?
no, he is angry.
No, he.
Yes,
Oh
I-
yeah, he is hungry.
Yes.
But I actually pretty hungry too. How about we go and eat?
Yes, I think it's a good idea. Let's go eat now.
Let's end our discussion for this club.
Yeah, I think that's all.
You see, as a head of the villager, I would like to ask you to come with me. We're going to go and eat some.
Alright.
Okay.
Okay.
Alright, let's go.
Jangan cakap storage full. Ada.